answering a listener question today, and I think it's kind of a fun one. So, I really enjoy your videos, very instructional and no BS. Question: practice good fundamentals both at the range and dry fire, but when I get to a competition, all goes out the window and it seems that I'm just point shooting. Not aware of the dot, have no idea to where the shots go. Uh, do I really need to slow down and be controlled to remember my training? And over time, speed will increase. I only have 5 matches under my belt. This is good stuff to talk about. Slowing down to get your hits is seldom the answer. It's just the reality of the situation. So, a few things have to happen. One, being disciplined. So making a plan and sticking to the plan is part of it. The other part is visualization. I kind of talk about both a bit. For visualization, for like a practical shooting sense for people not familiar, it would be a course where there's a bunch of different targets all over the place. You get to look at it ahead of time so you know where the targets are going to be. You have a specific spot you need to start in normally. So toes touching these marks or heels touching this mark or something like that. And then once the beep goes off, you're trying to find the fastest, most accurate way to hit all the targets. So you're left to your own devices as long as you're safe, and you can pick any order you want. And obviously, speed is important, so you want to engage the targets rapidly. But you have to actually be disciplined so you hit the targets. You can see there's a bunch of stuff going on. Plus, you have to actually remember where all the targets are and not get lost or forget. A bunch of things to go wrong. So, talking about the visualization part, what that means is that you could stand, well, first off, when you walk up to the stage, you have to find out where the targets are and make a plan. I want to go to this spot first. I'm going to shoot these 2 targets. Then I'm going to run to this spot. I want to shoot this 1 target. I'm going to go over to this spot, but in the meantime, I'm going to shoot this target on the move. Then I'm going to reload my gun. I'm going to look for these targets, that kind of thing, but in a much more granular detail. Once you understand where everything's at and you've made all the decisions, you need to keep going through your head and visualize it. I think a fair way to say that is you could close your eyes and first person view, see everything before it actually happens. So an example is I could just sit here and close my eyes and think, okay, I'm going to look at the target on the left. I'm going to draw the gun. As soon as I see the color of my sight, I'm going to shoot that target. I'm going to look to the right. There's going to be a target there. Shoot that one. Run forward and that kind of thing. But in great detail. That's going to happen from doing it over and over again mentally, just thinking about it. And then you might get to a spot where there's the 3rd spot down. I know there's a port I look through. I don't remember what's in there. So you walk down, look inside the port. Oh yeah, there's 2 targets. One of them's got a no-shoot on it. That's right. So you could go back, do your visualization more over and over again, just rehearsing everywhere you're going to go, where the targets are going to be at. If it's a partial target, thinking about where you want to hold on the target. Oh, it just so happens I have some targets over here. Wouldn't you know, as luck would have it. So, for example, if you're shooting, I would need one with the white side. So, for example, if you're shooting a target that looks like this, 2 different target types, but you get the idea. So, the top part of this is scoreable. The bottom part would be a penalty. Thinking, where do I want to hold on this? Because if you just hold center of brown, probably not going to be the best outcome. If you think, I'm going to try to get the alphas, and I'm going to hold down here in this little section and get those points, but it's 15 yards away. Here to tell you that's probably not going to be the best solution. Maybe you want to aim for the head box, thinking, I don't even care about the alphas. I'm just going to hold dead center in the very middle of the head box. See my sight on the target, press the trigger. See my sight return, and I'm going to press the trigger. That's the way I have to engage this target. So that's going to vary based on target distance, difficulty, how the course designer set it up, a bunch of variables. But you need to be thinking about where all the targets are, where you're going to hold on the targets. You're visualizing the spot you want to hit on the targets, and then thinking about where your feet will go, if you need to do a mag change along the way, all those types of details. At first, your first couple outings, just be safe. Remember where all the targets are. Try not to get lost. But as you get more and more experience, and it starts to come naturally, in my experience at least, your visualization will start to have more detail as you're more comfortable or get more experience doing it. For example, I can think of like some field courses where it'll be out in the middle of nowhere, kind of what it looks like, and I need to find a very certain spot to be standing at that I can see this target, and I can only really see this target from this spot. So maybe as I'm running there, I have a visual cue where I program in. I'm going to look down. There's a fault line, a seam of the fault lines where two fault lines are joining together. If I have my right foot by that seam, that'll put me in the spot I want to know. That'll get me where I can see that target. So while you're running over, glance down, find the spot. As I get close enough, I know my right foot's going to go there. Look up, looking for where the target, mount the gun, sights up, and I'm ready to start shredding lead once I see the color of the target or the color of my sight on the target or whatever the case would be, depending on the distance, difficulty, and a bunch of factors. But that kind of just happens with experience, and your walkthrough gets more and more detailed as you have more experience. But at least at a beginner level, you should be able to just stand there with your eyes closed and remember, I'm going to go to this port. There'll be 2 or 3 targets. This is kind of what they look like. Then I'm going to go to this spot. There'll be this. In the open, I'm going to shoot this. And just kind of remember where everything's at. That way, when you're standing there and the buzzer goes off, you have a plan. You can subconsciously execute, that you programmed yourself enough times that you can kind of just hit play and watch the program run as you just observe what happens, because it's all going to happen so fast. And if you want to have a good time or win, you can't necessarily think about everything. For example, there's the target. Okay, my hands are at my sides. The beep just went off. I'm going to draw my gun now. Yep, I see the color of my sight. Now I'm going to shoot. What's next? Oh yeah, then the right target. Yep. Then I go to the right target and shoot. All this kind of a play-by-play or processing it along the way is just going to be too slow. So you're working to be able to just program it and then execute what you programmed. The discipline part is the other part. Probably, I suppose it depends on how you're wired. I think it's the more difficult part, is because when the buzzer goes off, you'll be amped up. You'll want to go fast. You want to look cool for YouTube or Instagram. You want to look cool in front of your friends. And it's just tough sometimes to remain focused on what you've decided or you visualized or planned or programmed yourself to do. The example of that partial target a minute ago, yes, in the moment when I get there, it's going to feel like it takes so long. But if I want to actually connect on that target, I have to see my sight on the target 2 times before I fire each shot. So 2 times total, meaning I see my sight get there, I press the trigger, the sight lifts, I have to wait no matter what it feels like, don't care. Wait for the sight to come back down, wait for it to stop, dot looks like a dot, then I can press the trigger for the second shot. I have to stick to that if I want to have accountability and actually scoreable hits on that target or not getting penalties. And in the moment, it may feel really slow, and internally I might be screaming, go faster, hurry up. But you have to stick to the plan and be disciplined. Another example, close, fast, aggressive shooting. So 2 or 3 targets, let's say they're 5 yards away, right next to each other, a yard apart, very close shooting. It could be tempting just to squirt bullets at the targets, just kind of get your gun up an eye line or looking over the top of the gun and then just shoot at those also. Well, training and experience tells me I should see the color of my sight before I start shooting. So I'll look, wait till I see the color of my sight, then I'll shoot a rapid fire pair, look at the next target, wait until my sight actually gets to where I'm looking, don't pull the trigger before it gets there, then fire rapid fire pair, look at the next target, wait for the gun to actually get on the target, the sight's there before you fire the next pair. So it's just that level of programming built in with a bit of discipline, that you pick a plan and you just stick to the plan, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Common things that are going to go along with this are your perception of time is not to be trusted. I've shot stages before that I thought, dude, that was fast, let's go. That's definitely one to post to the gram. Look at the video, and I thought, man, I was pretty slow. I had no idea. I lost so much time. I didn't realize I dropped the gun there. Oh, my draw was really slow, or oh, I wasn't shooting that target as fast as I was. Any of those types of things. Then I remember very well a section match where I shot the stage just reasonably. It was higher difficulty targets, a bunch of stuff going on. Just stuck to my plan, just shot a nice, respectable score, what I thought, and it ended up being a stage win with very competitive people there. It's like, hey, that was cool. But at the time, it felt like I was just sticking to the program. I knew if I went off the rails, I would have penalties or misses, or it wouldn't be a good result. So just stick to the plan. Don't try to do anything dumb. Don't try to have any smart ideas. Just stick to the plan. And in the moment, that feels very slow sometimes. So that's why you don't trust your perception of time. Just stick to the plan. So again, for the person asking this question, I'll revisit it real quick. So he's able to shoot well in live fire and dry fire, but get to the competition, it goes out the window. Feels like he's just point shooting. No ideas where the shots go. So the last part of his question, we need to slow down and be controlled to remember his training, and the speed will increase. I'd say no. Keep training as long as it's not like undisciplined lunatic where you're just throwing the gun towards the targets and spraying as fast as you can pull the trigger. But no, otherwise you don't back down on speed. Shoot at the same aggressive shooting you've been doing in training and your practice that you've already proven to yourself you know how to do. Instead, you visualize the plan to remember where the targets are going to be, where you have to go. Visualize your magazine change. How often, well, if you consume very much gun material, somebody will be shooting and then all of a sudden click. It's like, oh, crap, yes, I forgot to reload. And then they do an emergency reload for slide lock, and then it's only 1 or 2 or 3 shots. And dang it, at the end. Visualize where you want to change your magazines. All that stuff's programmed in. And then when the buzzer goes off, you could just hit play, let the program run without trying to be something special in the moment. Because you're likely going to shoot worse than you've trained just because there's amount of pressure and stress. And as you get more experience, the goal is to shoot the exact same way that you do in training. But it doesn't happen overnight. So anyway, hope that answers the question. Appreciate you guys sending questions in. If you want, you could like, share, subscribe, whatever. Either way, I appreciate you watching.